All right, so right now with our drum kit, we have, let me bring that over. All right, so we have something like this where E, R, I, K, it hits the cymbals or the hi-hat closes, opens, but we're not actually seeing any animations. So make this look just a little bit more realistic and just to learn little bit about repositioning things with CSS. We're going to make the hi-hat move up and down, and we're going to make the cymbal kind of shake, or at least change its angle just a little bit as we hit it, and then it'll go back. So we're going to do this for, I'll just do it for E right now. For the cymbal, we could do the R as well. Although R, what do we have R as? We have that just as ride. So crash might be more realistic for actually moving, ride might not. So I'm just going to do E. And then for the hi-hat, open is fine. It's already open. But K, close, we definitely want it moving down, and then when we let off K, it should go back up. So, or we could put that in I, but I'll just have a go back up when K is released. So I'm going to start with my E. So I'm going to find in my script E. So here's if name equals E, playing the sound. What I want to do now is to do document dot get element by ID. And I want to get the symbol. So if I look, let's see if I can find it in here. There we go. So here's my crash symbol. It has an ID of crash ride. So I'm going to get element by ID crash ride. That's what I'm going to change. So get element by ID crash dash ride dot style dot transform. So I'm going to change its style. Now if I go look at my current CSS for the symbol, let's find that in here. Should be, I believe, crash ride. Nope, it's not. There it is. That's right, it was a class. The ID was crash ride. The class was crash symbol. All right, so right here, this is what we're looking at. Right now it has a negative 7.2 degree rotation, and that 0.2 is just very precise. Getting it exactly horizontal, it doesn't necessarily have to be that precise. The reason why it currently has that, if I go to my folder and I look at that image, we can see that by default it already has a tilt, but we have it currently straight, and that's because we've rotated it negative 7.2 degrees to bring it down to straight. So what we're actually going to want to do is change this to 0 when it gets hit, so it goes back up a little bit and then back down negative 7.2. So in my script, I'm going to do the transform equals rotate 0 DEG 0 degrees. Okay, so back here in my styles, rotate negative 7.2. Now I'm rotating it to 0, back to its original position. And then even though I'm not changing the scale, I need to put the scale back in there, otherwise it would get rid of, oops, it would get rid of that scale and it would resize it back to its original size. So I need to make sure I keep that same scale that I'd use there to resize it. All right, so that should take care of that one. Let me just go ahead and run this real quick and test it. So if I hit E, there we go. We can see that it tilted. Now it didn't go back. We're going to have to do like a key up or an event listener for up to go back, but that, at least when I hit it, it goes back to 0. All right, before I do the event listener, let's go ahead and take care of the hi-hat, because we're going to have to add an event listener for that, and then we'll take care of both event listeners at the same time. So the hi-hat, that's going to be K. So I'm going to scroll down to K, add a line in here. So for this one, what I wanted to do is to actually slide down. So right now it's up a little bit above. I want to slide down to hit it. So I need to look at my original style sheet and see where I have that position. And I have it at 166. So I'm probably going to want to move it down to like maybe 170, because there wasn't that much of a gap in there. We'll try 170 to see if that hits it. So in here I'm going to do the same thing, document dot get element by ID, and the ID for the hi-hat was hi-hat dash top, and then I'm going to do dot style dot top equals And like I said, I'm going to try 170, see if that brings it down so they're touching. So all I'm doing is just changing that top position. Right now it's starting at 166. I'm going to drop it down 4 more pixels, see if that brings it down enough to hit it. So we'll try that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It came down, hit. Obviously now I need to go back up. So we need to add event listeners for E and K. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of my script and add in an event listener because I don't want this to be a part of this event listener. That was the key press. I'm going to add an event listener now for key up. So document dot add event listener. We're going to do key up. Same as we've always done with event listeners. We'll call the event equals greater than signs, then my function, and then all my code's going to go inside there. All right, so let's start off. We need to get the key that was that triggered the event. So var name equals event.key. Then if, now we're listening for just 2 specific keys. If the key up was E or if it's K, then we want it to do something. So if name equals E, we'll start with that one. Then I want to change this rotation back to that -7.2. So I'm going to copy this line, paste it down here, and change this back to the original -7. We could just do -7, but since it was originally had at -7.2, so now it's going to go back to that original 7.2 that we had, where it was. There it is, right here. So it's going to set it back to what it originally was. So key down, change it to 0, key up, change it back to -7.2. And then we need to do the same thing for the K. So if name equals K. Then we want to change this back to the original, which was 166. So I'm going to copy and paste that line, change that back to 166, and let's see what happens. Okay, E, there we go. Key down, key up, key down, key up. Now you can notice that if I hold the E down, it stays. Not a big deal. We could probably do something to make that a little better, but that works. This does make more sense because you're using the foot pedal, so if you hold the foot pedal down, it would stay, except we'd probably want to stop. We wouldn't want to repeat the sound, so that's something else we could fix, but that's beyond what I'm going to do in this video. But right now, there we go. We have our animations.